And now that I've got my audio in place, I can go ahead and start to time up the typography so that it corresponds with the way that the audio track is working. And essentially what I want to do is find the first frame where my audio is audible in terms of the actual lyrics of the song. So if I press the period key, standing there alone, you can kind of see where the words are starting based on the waveform that we have there. Remember, we can use the command key to try to determine where the beginning of the words are. So we're right there, and we want to make sure that our preferences are set so that as we're creating these different pieces of the kinetic typography, it makes sense, and we don't actually have to sort of backtrack our work. So if we jump up to preferences in general, one of the things that we really want to make sure is that create layers at composition start time is deselected, because when this is deselected, it will create the new layers, such as the text layers, wherever your playhead is located. So by navigating to where the word starts and then creating a text layer at that particular point, everything will be timed up automatically. So this way, you don't have to keep going back to the beginning of the timeline to find your text. So that's fine. And now we want to jump over to import and make sure that the content that's coming in is a manageable length. I like to work with elements that are about a second long. This way I can see the beginning and the end of them as they get dropped into the composition. And I also don't have to worry about sort of trimming them down too much. I can extend or trim as needed within the timeline, but this way I don't have to always deal with the clumsiness of having everything the length of the composition. So about a second, but obviously this is a personal preference. So now that I know my preferences are set, we can go ahead and we'll go ahead and work with my character that I have over here. You can make any kind of choice that you want. I'm going to work with impact just because I feel like it has a firm presence on the screen, very legible. And I'm not going to worry about the design. I'm not going to worry about the color. I'm just going to work with some white text on this black background. The keyboard shortcut for creating a new text layer is Command T, or you can navigate up here and use the toolbar. If we know that the first word is standing, and if I just click anywhere in the frame, I will start my word at that particular position of the cursor. And so I know that my first word is standing. And you can see that it's been dropped down here. It's 1 second long. If I play with my period key, I can get a visual for where the next word starts. Standing there alone. You can see that the little notch on the waveform here is indicating where there starts. There. And so we've got the standing there alone. So now we've got standing and there, and alone happens pretty quickly. So if we and this is where you probably want to be using headphones, lest anyone in the immediate area want to hurt you for the pain you've inflicted on their ears. So now if we come back here and if I press 0 on the numerical keypad, it will give me the RAM preview. Standing there alone, the cashier's wait. And we'll just try it one more time. Standing there alone. And I feel like alone is starting a little bit quick, so we'll drop it back a little bit. Standing there alone, the cashier's waiting. And now if I want to have all three of those words on the screen at the same time while the phrase is building, I can just come in and slide the length of each of these layers along so that now standing there and alone are all on the frame at the same time. In terms of a rough draft, all we're looking for is timing. If you want to start to go in and make some different kinds of design decisions at this particular point, you certainly can. Anything that you do to reorient the way that the text is popping up on the screen is fine. It's not going to be keyframed because we haven't activated the time vary stopwatch for anything yet. And it's all still maintaining that timing that we've established so far. So by reorganizing things on the screen and pressing 0.
Standing there alone, the cashier's waiting.
And so you can see how you can start to build through. And this is the process that you want to use for the essentially the extent of your selection. If you have a propensity for spelling mistakes, then I would certainly make reference of a Word document that has had spelling checked on it. The most maddening thing in the world is to get completely at the end of the process of developing a kinetic typography and ending up with spelling mistakes, or grammatical errors. But basically it just takes time. It takes a little bit of patience. Go through it to try to, make sure that you're getting things in the right spot. Preview using that RAM preview that shows you the audio and the video at the same time fairly frequently. And just work a little bit at a time, and you'll start to really build up your project.